You're listening to the Casual Sports Show.
Step away first. Palmer extending the play. Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald is going to take it into Green Bay territory.
The show exclusively known as the voice of the Arizona Cardinals fan club, the Bird Gang.
Fitzgerald inside the 30, the 20. It's insane.
Now with your host, Earl Burnett, a.k.a. Casual E.
Bird Gang on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bird Gang.
All right. Welcome back into the Casual House, Bird Gang, Suns Nation, and all you sports fans out there. You know it's that time again, another lovely Monday night, and that is bringing to you another Casual Sports Radio show right here on KSRN. I'm your host, Earl Burnett. My man Sean McConnell's in the other glass window over there. Well, it's glass to me, but not to me.
Mr. Glass.
You know what to do when you want to stay in touch with this show. Go ahead and hit us up on our 4 major outlets on social media. Facebook Live right now. Tonight, we want to get in there. Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube page. All with the same tab, Casual Sports, K-A-Z-U-A-L with the Z at the end of the word sports. And download the mobile apps, Android and iOS, where you can get these shows at your beckoning call. And go ahead and go to our website at www.ksrnaz.com and subscribe to the website as well if you haven't done so already. And this show is brought to you, sponsored by the folks at CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates. Change a child's story. That is going to be the marquee saying for our sponsor on this show from now on. So get used to it and look into it if you can get a chance to. It's a very, very, very good organization that does a very, very good thing in our community. How's the weekend, bro?
The weekend was insane. My kids are so pent up on video games that we took a little weekend off of electronics just to kind of see what would happen. And, you know, I think there was a little bit less fighting and arguing, but it was still just too much to handle, man. They need a break.
You take the video games away, and what do they do then? It's like, man, you got zombies.
I said they could do this. You could do this.
It looks like
a couple hours of this. Twiddling their thumbs.
Okay, I gotta get you on my thing. I couldn't see that. What'd you say?
I was twiddling my thumbs.
Oh.
I said, try not to hit your own thumbs.
Yeah, man, these kids today need that phone and the video games and the technology. Man, you take it away, they are like, man, they lost.
Yeah.
But isn't your little one walking already now? I thought I saw you guys.
He's walking with like a walker. It's assisted walking is what we call it. He's actually getting a gait trainer for his cerebral palsy soon, so that's good news. But yeah, he's a speedster when it comes to just like the scoot crawling that he does. It's like he's into everything, man. So I don't sit down until right now.
In the house now, huh?
Yeah, he's ruling the house for sure.
Oh man, get ready for it, man. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse before it gets under control.
Right. And how's your family, man? We're all recovering from the I don't want to call them festivities,
everybody's back on the horse riding, doing that regular thing now, but we are more conscious of it, of course, more so than we were before. And we already were, really conscious of it, doing what we're supposed to do, but now we got to kind of control some things from the outside. So
right.
We're a little bit more informative as to what people are doing around us at the same time. So yeah, man, I was on JB and Benny Blue, earlier this afternoon, and I did a little rambling on that one, man. You know how they show is the type of show where you can kind of just let go a little bit. So I let off a little bit.
Yeah, I don't blame it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But,
we'll have to catch that episode soon.
Getting back, man. I appreciate everybody and all you guys looking out for us. But yeah, we're back on the horse again, man.
Nice.
And since we're back on that horse, let's go ahead and do what we normally do about this time.
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? In the Casual House.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. We got a packed show for you tonight, and we got my man coming in, PLR, Paul Richardson, otherwise known as PLR. of the Cage show right here that airs right here on KSRN, and of course other platforms that he has on that show. But if you want Suns, this is the man. So I had to reach out to him because the Suns, of course, have started the scrimmages and getting ready to start this shortened 8-game season, which is probably all they'll be playing. And we gotta get
Come
my man
on.
Paul to get my man Paul to come in and give us his insight that he only PLR will give, and you don't want to miss that. But let's talk about the NBA bubble itself. And the NBA bubble right now, I mean, when you look at it on TV, the NBA did a pretty damn good job about that, how that venue looks. It looks pretty good. I gotta admit, I thought it would look
Yeah, I mean, it could have looked worse, right?
Yeah, it could have been worse. Exactly. It looks pretty good. I mean, from a venue standpoint, I mean, I love what they're doing with the way they indicate that there is a home team.
Yeah.
So they give that home team all the teleprompters and all the signs and their ads from their team ads, and all that's filling up all the screens, and the one team logo, only one team's logos on those screens all throughout the arena. So it kind of gives that home team the feel of, we got the advantage. It's our team. It's our building, so to speak. And then that road team has the disadvantage of knowing I don't see our logo anywhere. We just this road team here that everybody don't pay attention to.
Yeah. I mean, as much of an advantage as you can feel, given that you're
Exactly.
playing in like what feels like a giant hotel.
Right. And the floor does kind of look bigger.
Yeah.
Because of course you don't have the media around it, and the floor. I mean, the front.
Yeah. There's no cameraman, no nothing.
Nothing's there. It looks like it kind of almost feels or looks like an international game.
Yeah.
How they have all those banners all over the place, and the giant floor. When you run out of bounds, you keep running.
Oh yeah, or even just kind of like a pickup scrimmage that was in like some basement you didn't know existed in some arena. It's weird looking, right?
It is.
It's not as weird as the Padres stadium with cardboard cutouts of like dogs and babies at the home
plate.
plate.
That a little later, that's for sure. Yeah, you ain't lying. That is so weird looking. Speaking of, I mean, weird is this whole thing in the sports is all weird to begin with, because we all are adjusting to this new sports and this new COVID type world we're in right now. So that was pretty. We're gonna touch on that a little bit later, but the NBA bubble also, what I really love about it too is, I mean, what's really cool about it is that the jurors box where the bench is looks like a jurors box, like they in a courtroom, all of them sitting in those seats. They got specific seats, and it looks like a courtroom.
I should have had the Law and Order soundbite queued up.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah, it does. They look like they're in a jurors box, and then they have a hockey kind of box for the media and the play-by-play callers that are sitting there, the people that are in front. So they did a pretty good job at putting that thing together, and especially what they did for us media. I mean, for the media, we get access to those players right after the games. I mean, right there on Zoom, we're talking to them right after the games, like we're right there interviewing them. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool too. I'm doing that with the Mercury and the Suns, and pretty much any team I want to go to, I could just go to that with the link they gave me and just kind of log into any team. And I thought that was pretty cool to give us that access. I didn't think they would give us much, give us anything going through this whole thing, but they have. So they did a pretty good job, helping. I mean, Adam Skeletor Silver has done a pretty damn good job.
You gotta stop with that nickname, man.
Well, let's talk about the MLB just getting underway, and our finally our Diamondbacks get a win on Sunday. They finally broke through with a pretty good win, where it looks like they were going to lose that game, and actually broke through. But losing the first two games, I mean, they finally get a win after giving San Diego the lead in the division, being undefeated. It's like, that looked weird when I look at the standings, like San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego, I mean, they've gotten better, and the Diamondbacks historically just, drop the ball, metaphorically and physically speaking. This is tough. It's tough to start dropping games to San Diego so early when there are no games to spare right now.
I know, and that's what I'm thinking. 162, and they go 2-0. You laugh. You're like, but now, I mean, that 2 games could come back to be like could play some real big dividends down the line. Like, oh man, we shouldn't have screwed up coming out of the gate for them dang Padres. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be really close because that whole division looks like they're all going to compete for this thing. And the MLB just, of course, we know Players Association agreed Thursday to expand the playoffs from 10 teams to 16 teams through 2020. So now all the second place teams in those divisions qualify for the playoffs now.
Playoffs.
Playoffs.
And even newer news about 3 hours ago, the Yankees-Phillies game was postponed because there's a COVID outbreak at the Marlins Citizens Bank Park. So the MLB might be in jeopardy of even finishing.
You knew it was coming.
So I guess the team that's 3-0, they just give them the World Series. Is that how that works?
Oh man.
Whoever's 3-0 at this point,
team that's 3-0 and has more than 10 players on it.
right? Yeah, last player standing, I guess.
Yeah, the last people standing.
That would be the Rays in the AL, and then the NL. Ironically, oh wait, that's not. Never mind. I speak in the wrong thing. I'm looking at divisions here. I'll come back to you with that.
Yeah, it's cool, but I you know how where I've always stood on this whole thing. They shouldn't have had the thing opening up to begin with. And so, if football is learning any lesson just by watching what happened to baseball in this little short period of time, I think they'll rethink where they're going, because we're gonna talk about that a little later. But they're not testing as frequently as the NBA is testing as far as COVID goes. They're only testing once a week. So now you're talking about once a week, and you're going to allow fans in the stadium, and you're going to have the teams traveling and doing all this. I mean, how are you going to control this thing?
You're not. You're not.
You're
the
not.
NFL is going to do what they do best, and they're going to ignore whatever problems in front of them.
That's what JB was talking about early on the show, and he's been 100%. He's been saying it before this thing started.
And he knows. He knows how that works.
He said they were not going to stop, and he was right. I was like, I thought for sure they would try to make some type an adjustment. They have went business as usual.
Their adjustment is getting rid of the preseason, which to them was like cutting dead weight.
As though that's done anything.
No.
Man, we'll come back to that. Another thing going on right now, that our most hated TV show is back.
There's a lot of TV shows that I hate.
NFL 100
is
back, and you know how much I despise that show, but because I still think it doesn't make any sense to do. There's no way you can put people in those categories and number them from 100 down to number 1 based on all of the different positions and different skill level, different. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Never does, never will.
It's basically a 100 MVP rating.
Basically, popularity rating.
That too.
So Buda Baker came in '97 for the Cardinals, and then seven players later, Kyler Murray at 90. I really don't care about all of that, because but to get the recognition that they've got, that they're on the list, that's good. And we're heading in the right direction as far as from a league standpoint. People are looking at, we always have some good players on our team that are going to make that list anyway.
And those are two of the younger cornerstones. I think that's why it's a little bit more important.
That's my point. That's what I'm glad you said that. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of leaning towards, that our young guys are on there already.
Right.
And that's a good thing. But going forward with this thing, I mean, Larry got on there today at number 69. He's going to be on that list all the time, regardless of what he does. We were talking off air about, should Patrick Peterson be on there? Well, he shouldn't be before Larry. So if he didn't get before Larry, he's not going to be on there at all, because he didn't have that type of season.
He didn't have that type of season at all. It was, not a full season. So, I mean, you got Marcus Peters at 53.
Right, and you're not going to be better than that guy, and he was pretty awesome.
So I got to see if he even made it
last year. So, yeah, I don't think Pat's going to be on there, but I do not want to see them screw Chandler Jones again. I mean, give the man his due. He should be in the top 15 at least.
Yeah, I'm thinking 15 to 10 for sure.
He should be in the top 15 no matter what. If I see him on that 30 and 40 and 50 and I'm like, I'm out. I'll never tune into that show again.
As if you wanted to before.
Exactly. The only reason I was into just trying to see where the Cardinals land. But if that happens again, I'm done. I'll let you do that segment.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
And then another thing we got to talk about that's kind of funny. I can't say it's funny, but it's interesting. Iron Mike Tyson is fighting again.
Yeah, buddy.
Out of retirement. to fight another old dude, Roy Jones Jr.
What is it,
for
every-
the great senior citizen charity fight.
Every
No,
30 years, Mike returns to bite another ear. Is that how that?
I don't know,
He
man.
comes out to eat. That's how it works.
Mike looked pretty good on those tapes, but
It looks
but
fast.
that's totally different than actually being on the actual. But then again,
I
this
don't
is not-
care if they're 80. He's still gonna clean somebody's clock right out, and that's what I want to
Exactly.
see.
But Roy Jones, he just about as old, so it's like I didn't know Roy was big enough to fight Tyson. Is he?
I don't. All that matters is Iron Mike beating somebody almost half to death. That's all I want to see.
And Roy Jones wasn't no cakewalk back in the day. He was a dog back in the day. So it's like, why they choose him? Why didn't they just give him somebody that we know Mike gonna knock out?
That's fair.
But I don't know. What it's gonna do. It's gonna get attention, and everybody's gonna be tuning in. It's not like they're in the ranks of the boxing fighters these days. They're just doing this almost like a dang on charity fight. But they finna get broke off though.
I'll watch it. Sure. I mean, I might not pay.
I'll watch it. That's gonna be fun to watch to see what Mike is doing. Man, if he looks anywhere like he was looking on them dang videos, I'm like, oh, Roy, I hope you're doing some training like he's doing. But we got a couple of Bird Gang announcements. So
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen, and listen, and listen.
all right, I'm gonna run through this real quick. We got a couple of announcements that I think are pretty cool and important for the Bird Gang to know out there. Cardinal fans, apparently they're opening up the stadium for us to come in and fill up the stadium to a degree. I'm pretty sure it won't be filled, but it'll be enough fans to make that building look respectable when the team gets on the field. So you want to go ahead. Masks, of course, are mandatory. Everybody knows that. So go ahead and get your team mask from the guy that's been doing it for a while, art-wise and photography-wise. My man Mike Durarte has the awesome mask that you can use. They're custom Cardinal masks that only Mike can do. And y'all know, if anybody knows Mike Durarte, you know the work he does. Get those masks from my boy, man. They are awesome masks to go to wear to a stadium if you're going to be doing this thing.
Yeah, we got that graphic up right now. Mike is the man. I want that beak mask. I wanted it yesterday. I want that mask, Mike.
Yeah, that beak one is dope though. But I like the AZ with the card in the middle. It's pretty sweet. But he has a whole line of things. What he got up on social media is just a touch of it.
Yeah, and I don't know what the Cardinals are sitting around waiting for. They need to buy these off of Mike and pass them out to the fans.
I mean, this is the same guy that gets the players that come to him personally for their photographs.
I know.
So why not put him in part of the whole big deal and make him the official Cardinal mask maker or something?
We call him the masked Mike. Masked Mike, right there.
Yeah,
He got a nickname and everything, ready to go.
But go get your mask, Bird Gang. I mean, that's where you get it from. Don't get it anywhere else. Support the Bird Gang. Support our dude, man. He puts it down, and his work speaks for itself. You don't have to beg you to go get it. Just look at the work. You'll go get it. Trust me.
Yep.
Check him out on Facebook, Mike Durarte. And that's spelled with the YDUARTE. Y'all know him. If you don't know him, Mike Durarte on Facebook and Instagram. And also, you want to check out the Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast. Our boy Javon Adams and Ed Smith are dropping that again for this year for the team. And they do a hell of a job doing that podcast. It comes on Thursday nights. We at KSRN have picked it up, so it will be available on our website as well. You can get it through Believe.com. That's BLEAV.com. You can go check them out. Those boys put it down for the Cardinals. They ain't up to our level on it yet, but they put it down for the Cardinals. And,
Shots fired. Shots fired.
You know I gotta say something, and I know Jay probably fired back right now on Facebook Live somewhere, I'm sure. But yeah, check those boys out, man. They do a hell of a job. Not only there, go ahead and check them out on KSRN for Easy Sports Talk as well. Shout out to my man Cornelius Brad Hanna. Kind of shared me on a post that they were doing for for on Facebook where you had to put down a player or players from a generation all the way back in sports history up till today of who you like to watch on tape or like to watch play the game that they play. In other words, you can pop a videotape of highlights in and watch that player all day long. And I can tell you, there's a few guys I named, but there's a lot of spectacular players in the sports. Period. We know that, but there's certain guys that stand out to you that are special to you. Like, man, I can watch that dude all day long. And I threw my first guy up there, man, Eric Dickerson. I can watch him run highlights all day long. I'm telling you, man, the curl and the high knee, man, I just love watching him run the football. And I've been that way since I was little, watching him run. Same thing with Magic Johnson. I can watch Magic Johnson throw an assist all day long. I mean, the Showtime leg or the look away pass. I mean, it just makes you get up out your seat screaming just at the highlights all the time.
I gotta say, I'm kind of offended that those are both Cali guys, but
yeah, I know.
I'm gonna come homer in strong for our fans here. Here's why Earl's wrong, because you got Steve Nash right back here, and you got Adrian freaking Wilson. Those are some highlights I could watch.
Yeah,
Adrian laying the wood.
But everybody has their own like personal special one, though. I mean, that for me, come growing up, stuff I grew up entrenched in. Those guys I'm entrenched in watching those highlights, like Michael Jordan, for instance. But I'm not talking about the Michael Jordan that got the 6 rings. I'm talking about the Michael Jordan at the first 7 years who broke in and changed all of basketball, where they stopped wearing the tight shorts and went to a longer short. And he was doing those layups that he go through the middle and break off in one way. When you go from one side to the other side of the ring with the tongue sticking out, he started everybody to doing the style to basketball.
Yeah, dunk contest Jordan was a good Jordan.
Yeah, the dunk contest Jordan. Yeah, you look at those highlights, you can watch them all day long. And it's one more guy in football that I can sit back and just marvel at, watch play football. And that's watching Dan Marino throw the football.
That guy could throw the ball.
God, I can watch that all day long. But I'm pretty sure you can think of a lot more people to put on that list, I'm sure.
Got to put a cap on that list.
I mean, if I had to put my last guy, the cap, yeah, it has to be a cap. But my cap would be the guy up to date, and that's Vince Carter. Woo! Highlight reel for real. I'm pretty sure he's on a lot of people's lists for sure. But you can watch him. I'm talking about his end-game dunks. I mean, that dude's a highlight reel for real, no matter what. You can watch it all day long. Who's going to ever forget the Fredrickson dunk? Who's going to ever forget the dunk contest? Nobody's going to forget that.
Yeah.
So that dude was pretty awesome. I can watch him all day long, too. But props to Brad for putting me on there. I know I didn't keep up with what I was supposed to do. You're supposed to give one every day for 10 days, but I kind of
you were a little busy
for one.
You were a little busy trying to survive.
I'm way too busy to try to keep up with it, so I just threw 1 or 2 on there. And, I passed it over to the people that's going to be my guest on the next segment here. My man Paul picked it up, so I don't know who he shared, but I know he did pick it up. But when we get back, you want to be around the set because I'm going to have my man come in from the Cage Show, Paul PLR Richardson. Of course, that's all what it stands for, but we know him as PLR. You know him as PLR on the air. He's going to come in. We're going to talk some Suns. They're in the bubble. They're getting ready. They got one more scrimmage game to go. So y'all stick around, Suns Nation. We got my man PLR coming in. We'll be right back right here on KSRNAZ.com.
You.
Take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
Alexa, who is the #1 radio station on the web?
KSRN, the hottest internet radio station on the web. If you have a podcast or have music and want to be heard, drop us a line at www.ksrnaz.com. The exclusive voice of the Bird Gang, your casual sports radio network.
KSRN Network, and we are working hard and working around the clock to keep you some fresh content during quarantine. But we all have a part, in case you forgot.
It's really pretty basic. Wash your hands often and well with soap and water. Cover your cough every time and stay home when you're sick. Also, if you've recently traveled to a country like China where this novel coronavirus is spreading and you have symptoms, it's really important for you to call your doctor or your healthcare provider to let them know not only about your symptoms, but your travel history.
So let's do these steps that are necessary to keep us all safe, not only just in Arizona, but around the world. Follow the lines of the CDC and all the medical professionals. You're listening to the Casual Sports Radio Network.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
You're listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
KSRN, the exclusive voice for all fan clubs and the community.
This is Cliff Kingsbury, and you're listening to the second best sounding voice in the Valley, Casual E, on the Casual Sports Show here on KSRN, Arizona.
All right, welcome back into the Casual House. Bird Gang, Sons Nation, Casual Sports Show right here on KSRN. Earl Burnett, Sean McConnell, coming to you every Monday night. You know how we do it. All right, man. I'm trying to get my man PLR to get in.
He's joining the Zoom right now. He might have some slow internet or something.
Oh, he's there?
Yeah, I booted him in, so we'll see.
Okay, I can't even hear him. I can't even see him. You there, Paul?
Not yet. He's still joining, it says.
All right, cool. All right, well, he's going to be coming. We're going to talk this Suns talk. And, of course, the scrimmage, of course. They have one more scrimmage to do. And that is against the, who is it, Raptors, I think it is? Suns?
It is the Raptors.
There he is.
Oh, there's the man. The one and only coming into the Casual House tonight. This is the man. If you want the Suns info, this is where we get it from. This is where you should get it from. This is the man that has been known to be a drug addict on the Suns. And
that's heavy.
Man, Big Ed has always said that he is on a Suns narcotic, and this is the man, the one and only PLR from the Cave Show, which also airs right here on KSRN and many other platforms. How you doing, Paul? Nice to have you in, man. Appreciate you.
Man, I've been practicing my deep voice all day. It's the best I can do right now.
The same thing when they come on every show. Everyone said the same thing.
That joke is tired.
Man, it ain't a joke. It's a fact. I've been walking through the house all day like, yeah, this PLR. It ain't been working. It don't work the same way.
Crazy. Oh man! Of course, you know my man Sean McConnell, co-host of the show. You know, of course. But
what's up, Paul? How's it going, man?
What's up? How you doing, my man? Good to see you again.
Likewise.
All right, man. Give us the skinny. I know, and I can hear you doing the Mercury stuff and some of the Suns interviews and stuff. Give us the skinny, man, on what the Suns look like up to this point in these scrimmages to you.
Okay, so I have two takes on that. The first game, I thought they looked very good, and that was because the bench looked very good. They tried to. First off, they don't know who's going to be their backup point guard, and so no one has, as my man said in training day, no one's put it in the chokehold. They're looking for someone to put that backup position in the chokehold, and they just haven't done it. And so he's ran out Ty Jerome on the same floor with Javon Carter and with Cam Payne, just so he can kind of get a feel and see who's going to take control. But what happened is the first game it went fine. The second game, everyone slid back to what they do. Cam Payne is a scoring point guard. Ty Jerome is a distributor who's really slow. I mean, he's slow. And then Javon Carter is more of an energy guy. Right. Well, there's really no fans, so the energy doesn't
Good point.
translate the same.
Good
so,
point.
So I think, unfortunately or fortunately, they're going to have three guys that will do what they need for that specific game, because they all look bad when they played Boston. They didn't match up well.
This is why I bring you in here, because I get those type of insights, because you're sitting there, dissecting every little thing that you see. And that's a good point. Carter, now, how has he digressed?
He hasn't digressed, but I think what you see at this stage is what you're going to get at this stage. And that's not a knock on him, but he's an energy guy.
Right.
And so he plays defense well, except I don't want to see him picking up full court again. Because once you get a blow-by on him, you are in a bad defensive position. So what I think the Suns are going to have to do, and with Ellie coming now, Ellie's in the bubble as well now. He came back, he cleared for practice, so he's ready to go. I think what they're going to do is situational backup point guarding. So if they need a guy to distribute and to run an offense, you bring in Ty Jerome. You're down, you need someone to boost up that second unit, you go to Cam Payne. You need someone to kind of get everybody going, you go to Javon Carter. And if all three of those fail, then you bring in Elliot Kobe.
Okay. And in Monty Williams' case, Devin Booker a few times too. Has that been happening?
It has, but no minutes really for Devin. So
good.
Basically the first game, the second unit performed well. In fact, the second unit performed, I thought, better than the first unit cohesively the first game. Right. The second game, once Devin and DeAndre were done, it was a tight game. Not that exhibition games, it matters one way or the other. But when they went out, Boston went on a 15-0 run. They never came back.
Right.
And Monty wanted to see what the second unit could do, and they could never really
get a hold of it. Yeah.
So
when you talk Phoenix Suns, fan-wise, analyst-wise, media-wise, the first question that's going to come to mind is, how did DeAndre Ayton do? And how did he look with Devin Booker? And I saw that on the tape. The first game, I watched it on tape a little bit, and they look a little bit more with a little bit more cohesion. They look like they're getting a little bit more used to each other. And at the same time, they may be starting to even like each other a little bit more. So is that something you kind of see going on through them? Because how does he look to you, Ayton-wise?
Okay, I think Ayton has gotten a bad rap, and I'm gonna say that for a while until we get a real season. Because here's a dude that came out and listen, Igor was the worst coach for Ayton. He did not run any plays for him. He put him in non-offensive positions. When you have a rookie center catching the ball 2 feet outside the free throw line, and now he's your distributor, that's just stupid. That's not even bad coaching. That's just dumb. So now you bring in Monty, and the first thing Monty said, I remember this distinctly, someone asked him about DeAndre being a leader. He said, being a leader, I just want the kid to turn to the next age. I want him to develop. I don't want that pressure on him. Then he goes out and gets himself suspended for 25 games. Right. So now this is really his first opportunity to really play and to really play with Devin and the team. He's not going to be, he's not Shaq. And he shouldn't have said, we're going to be Shaq Kobe 2.0. That was stupid. And people look to that. Right. He's a fun, you know who he is? He's Dwight Howard. He's fun-loving. He's talented. He's going to smile. He's going to tell you that he plays 2K all day. That's him.
That's pretty good.
but he's athletic.
He's a good
He's
player.
big.
Nobody's saying he's not a good player.
And he can do all that, but it's maturity.
Exactly.
And bigs don't usually mature at the same level.
Good point.
And I think we have to give him a chance. What happened is Luka just ended up being fantastic. So now everyone is like, well, we could have had Luka. But you got to use common sense. Exactly. Luka's usage in Dallas is high as hell. Luka playing in Phoenix with Devin, his usage wouldn't be as high. So he wouldn't average the same points, the same assists, or the same everything. True. So I think that's what he's suffering from, the fact that Luka is so fantastic.
What do you think about, I mean, the only knock, and I know, like you said, it's a growing process, but the only knock that I have had with Ayton, and I still have to a degree right now, that I see it getting better. I mean, he can move his feet. He jumps out on those guards better than any big man I've seen in a while. He can get his hands up and defend without fouling. I seen that on tape in that first scrimmage. The main thing that continues to stick out to me is I would like to see him bang a little bit more in that paint with his back to the rim, bang a little bit more, push a guy back and get him up under the rim and smash that thing down on somebody's face. Everybody wants to see that because he has the body, he has the ability, and he definitely has the talent. I want to see that. I don't want to see him like he's been doing, grabbing offensive rebounds and immediately throwing it back out to the guard without even taking a look at the basket first. Take a look at the rim, turn around and smash that thing on somebody. That's what I'm looking for. Do you see him kind of getting to be that, or is he just going to be DeAndre Ayton finesse guy the rest of his career?
I think he's a finesse guy.
Okay.
I don't think he'll always look to kick the ball out. I think he'll do some of those other things. Monty even said that because he was talking about him shooting threes, and everyone's made a big deal because he hit a three in each of the games. And honestly, I could care less about him hitting a three.
I could care less about that. I'd like to see big man take a three.
Yeah.
Right.
And Monty said, listen, if the three is there and it makes sense, take the three. But we're not going to sacrifice what he does well to put him out on a three-point line. Okay. There's a saying that we had coming from Chicago, and I'm going to clean this up as much as I can. Plus, my son is real close. There are certain players that have what's called a FM radio reverse those two letters. Some players are just that. And Devin Booker is that. DeAndre isn't one of those. That's why I said he's more of a Dwight Howard.
Okay.
He can play, he's well, but he's not going to be that dude that wants to just kill you. He's not him. Now, will he do better at getting offensive rebounds and putbacks? I think he will. I think that comes with maturity. I think that also comes with being comfortable with who you're playing with. But a lot of times I think we look for certain things in players that they just are not, as opposed to accepting what they actually are.
Right.
And I don't think that's him, and I think that would be an expectation that may not get met.
Okay, I got two more things for you, and our time kind of gets a little limited, but I know there are two major things. When you just said that was one of them, he is not that. Okay, so do we bring in that, like a DeMarcus Cousins, and then push him to the four? Can we bring in another good center that has that type of thing that we're going to need when you talk about a playoff game? When you talk about playoffs, the playoffs are played in the paint. So if that, well, not today's basketball probably, so I'm playing on a 3-point damn line, but for the most part, you need to be banging in that paint. Can you bring in another big guy and move him to that four?
No, absolutely not, because if you move him to the four, he's got to guard the four. And I don't want him guarding the fours. I want him. He is actually a really good defensive center.
He is.
He can switch out on pick and
move
roll.
He can play anybody.
And he can guard the paint.
We watched him play LeBron and Giannis last year and shut him down almost.
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying you have to defensively. You don't want to do that. I don't want DeMarcus Cousins. That slows down this offense.
Oh, that's another ball game.
And pace. Look, I love DeMarcus. He's one of my favorite players ever. But the pace that the Suns play, that's bad for what they want. And he doesn't have to have that if other people on the team can bring that. So when you have a Devin that has that, I think a Mikal eventually can have more of an attitude like that. He's real soft spoken, but when you watch Devin play, Mikal is different when you watch him.
That's what I want to get into next.
When you watch him play.
Yeah, that guy.
So I'm just saying, I don't think DeAndre has to be that for the Suns to be successful.
Yeah, I guess I can understand that perspective. When you talk about the glue to a team, I mean, the guy that can just bring all the pieces together, that's Mikal Bridges, right? I mean, to me,
yes.
I look at this kid, I'm going, wow, this dude reminds me. I was on Ed's show Saturday, and I said, this dude reminds me of a right-handed Lamar Odom, of what Lamar brought to that Laker team with Powell and Kobe, where you could not, that team was almost unguardable just because of what Odom brought, where he can handle the ball, he's long, he can guard anybody, and then now he's an offensive threat where you can't guard him. That dude's going to be the glue that brings this thing together. Tell me how you see his ceiling going forward.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but Mikal's gotten bigger, and it's helped him a lot, and that's going to help him down on the block. Everyone looks at his D and his 3, and he's been reaching a little bit too much, and I think that's him just trying to get a feel for what he can and can't do, and if it's an exhibition game, get it out your system now. But what impressed me the most was the last game that they played against Boston. He caught the ball in a corner, and they really thought he was going to shoot a 3. He put the ball, he pump fake, put the ball on the ground, did a little bit of a spin, and hit like about a 13-footer, a little 13-foot corner shot. If you can hit that shot, and once he gets that down, he is unguardable, and that's going to help Devin. It's going to help Ricky, and it's going to help Aiden. Now, I will say this though. I wouldn't compare him to Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom was a bad boy. He just got
what Lamar brought to the team. Yeah, what Lamar brought to the team. I'm not saying his game is like him. He brought to the team was that long guy that could versatile things. But real quick, I mean, we got a couple of minutes here. Give us your input as far as what you think expectation-wise for these 8 games going in. What is your realistic expectations?
See, why you do that? Because you know I'm on that narcotic real hard.
Exactly. Oh yeah, the Suns gonna win the championship.
I legitimately think they're gonna go either 4-4 or 3 or 5. Legitimately. Now I want to see how they come out, and here's why. The first 3 games will tell us everything. If they're 2-1, I believe they will remain competitive, and that will help them. If they come out 1-2 or come out 1-3, I think you put Devin and DeAndre on a plane, get them out of that bubble, and send them home. So I just think because at that point you're not playing for anything. Now, real quick, because I know we got time. One thing that James Jones said that just kept sticking in my mind: evaluation for next year. Evaluation. So I think once we get past, they have a shot to get to that 9th spot. If they do, they're going pedal to the metal. If they don't, then I think you're seeing a lot of evaluating for guys who they want to bring back next year versus guys they're going to let go.
Hey, Paul, man, I appreciate you coming in. And go ahead real quick and tell everybody where they can hear you at. And as far as my perspective on the Suns is just get some respect. Don't just be an easy out.
Yo, man, just put some respect on that name when you talk about them, all right? You can catch me on the Twitter at PLR on Sports, and then the Cave Show every day, 2 airs. One, if you go to thesportscave.com, Caves with the K, hit listen live. You catch us at 1, and then of course you can always catch us at 3 on that replay at KSRN.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming in and giving us some insight, man. It's always good insight too. And,
thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yes.
Don't overdose.
Hey, I'm good. I'm gonna go back to practicing that voice. This is PLR on Sports.
Stick around, Bird Gang Sun Nation. We'll be right back. We're gonna get to talking about what's weird in sports. Be right back.
Alexa, who is the #1 radio station on the web?
KSRN, the hottest internet radio station on the web. If you have a podcast or have music and want to be heard, drop us a line at www.ksrnaz.com. The exclusive voice of the Bird Gang, your casual sports radio network.
Hey yo, what's good, Bird Gang? This is J Love. And where do you go when you want to get all the information about the Arizona Cardinals? Of course, you come to Casual Sports in the Casual House. You can.
This is Larry Fitzgerald. You listen to the exclusive voice of the Bird Gang, Casual Sports.
All right, welcome back into the Casual House. Earl Burnett, Sean McConnell, thank you again to my man PLR, Paul Richardson, coming in from the Sports Cave to give us the Suns talk. Always good talk. All right. So, man, sports is getting kind of weird, man. Hold on a second. I hear something. What is that?
You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
That is the stamp on 2020 and COVID-19. It is the Twilight Zone. For real. Did I lose my feed with Sean? Sean, you there? I think I lost my man, Sean. Let me get him back here real quick. I lost my man here. Give me a second, peoples. Where is the feed? Anyway. Oh, there it is. I guess he's still here. But yeah, that's COVID-19. Twilight Zone and the whole thing just looks freaking weird right now. All over the place. Sports doesn't look the same. It just kind of gives you that, man, that's wow, what's going on? That's kind of weird looking. So I'm trying to get my man Sean to get back in here. Did he leave? Or did he get dropped? I don't see him here.
Hey man, I gotta be bouncing back and forth. I sent you a text though. Sorry, you might have to run the ship for the last 13 on your own.
I was kind of, you know how I don't pay attention to the phone. But my bad. But yeah, okay, I got you. I know I still see you on the feed. I'm like, okay, did I lose Sean?
No, you're good. You're
but
good.
I got it. I got you. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, we're on. Man, sports is pretty weird right now. COVID-19 is taking over everything, and it does look kind of crazy. Sean was speaking earlier about how baseball looks, and you look in the background, and that just reminds me of the freaking Twilight Zone. It does, because everybody's got these smiles on their face, and it's just stiff boxes and stiff images cut out, whatever, sitting there, and it just looks weird. And so it kind of weirded me out to the point where I was like, that reminded me of something. I know y'all familiar. Whoever's not familiar with the Twilight Zone, you got to be, I guess, a certain age probably. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure y'all know what it is. Man, the Twilight Zone is one of those shows where the happenings, the strange happenings happen unexpectedly, unexplained. Weird stuff just takes place. You know, of course, there's certain staples that you can remember of that show. I mean, specific shows like the guy that was the last man on earth. I mean, my favorite is the book reader. The book reader. He was a book reader that loved to read books, and he just wanted more time to read books. He did not have enough time to read books, and I know some of y'all are probably familiar with this, but he went into the vault at lunch because he works for a bank. He works at a bank. He went into the bank vault and shut the vault so he can get a little more time at lunch by himself to read his book. And then an atom bomb hits the whole world or something and blows everything up, and everybody's dead except him. He comes out the vault. There's books everywhere, all over the place and stuff. He's like, books, I can finally get time to read. Oh, wow. He was all elated that he had all these books. And the next thing you know, he drops his glasses and breaks them. And he got all these books there and can't read them. That was the type of show that was. It was just weirded out like that. But when I was little, it was weird. But as you got older, you understood their storylines were pretty deep. And their storylines were dealing with the things that were happening in this society. And they're still relevant today. You could go back to that 1960 show and still see stuff that's relevant to this society today. So it's a pretty cool show. If you check it out, Google it. Go Twilight Zone, Rod Sterling. Dude, it was a pretty good show and still is. But anyway, major sports. My question was going to be to my man Sean until I lost him here. He had to take care of some important business that he had to run out. But which major sports are affecting the fans the most? as far as being affected by having no fans in the stands. And of course, the answer to that for me would, of course, be every one of those sports in a sense has something that is they're losing because of the fans not being there. And that's part of the staple of the game that they're not able to do anymore. I mean, the first thing comes to my mind would be the player introduction. You know, players love to have their name introduced coming out to a show, and fans love to do it when they're at games. Uh, take away that element from the game, that can kind of control, early momentum in games and how teams come out. And then, of course, the boo factor, those type of things. But there's other elements to each one of these games that I think is going to be important when no fan is there that affects the fan and the athlete itself. And in baseball, you hit a grand slam, and normally the guy goes in the dugout, comes back out the dugout, takes that bow to the crowd. Well, that's fan driven. The fans drive that. The fans are the ones that bring that guy back out. Without that element in the game, it's like it's weird. It's that you don't see that. It's like not to see that again in a baseball game, or just the pop fly or a home run not be caught or try to be caught or attempted to be caught by a fan. It's going to be kind of weird. In football, the first thing that stands out in football to me would be the Lambeau leap or the leaping into the black hole when a receiver or whoever scores a touchdown, they run and jump into that crowd. Not going to be there. Well, football is allowing fans, but I don't think they're going to be that close to the field, first of all. And I don't think they're going to be close enough where any players will be jumping in any stands, of course, with COVID-19. And then you look at basketball, how the effect of the fans, when they go to the free throw line. I mean, that MVP chant is huge in sports for the marquee player. And then, of course, the road team goes to the free throw line and is usually affected in some way by the fans trying to divert that free throw for that road team. But now they have total concentration at the line, not being affected at all. And then who can pass up the opportunity to have that beat LA chant in their stadium? That's not going to be there. So certain things like that being taken out of the game by the fans. When you turn to hockey, when you get that hat trick, who the heck's going to throw the hats out on the ice? So those type of things that the fans are affecting of the game and affecting athletes and the fans together in the game itself, making it just weird. And that's why it's kind of like the Twilight Zone. It's like, man, this ain't baseball. This ain't football. This ain't hockey. This ain't, basketball. I mean, like, it's weird. But but when it comes down to it, players know when the game goes between those lines, they're professionals. They'll play that game. They'll compete. Competition takes over. Social media today won't allow a player to believe that he's not being watched. He knows he's being watched, so he's going to try to do that fantastic and the dramatic and not be embarrassed and all those type of things. But just that element of the games are being taken out. But we got about 7 more minutes here, and I want to turn to a little bit of the Cardinal stuff because we didn't get into the Cardinal stuff real quick. But going into the training camp with no preseason is going to be difficult for all the teams, of course, but it all is going to depend on how you prepared for it. But as a rookie on the Cardinals or any team that has rookies, I think their chances of playing this year are very, very slim. And like I said before on Ed's show Saturday morning, the number 1 draft pick and maybe the number 2 draft pick have the highest expectations, or they have high expectations talent-wise. So they are more apt to get on a court or on the field, I should say, the same year in 1 year. You're spending so much money on that guy and investing so much in that guy's going to get on the field somehow. And of course, for the Cardinals, they don't have a number 2 pick. So of course, we know that the only guy that might get on the field for us rookie-wise would be Isaiah Simmons. The rest of those rookies are going to get put on the shelf because with COVID-19 and with no preseason where they can put things on tape and no training, no OTAs, no other normal off season, everything else is going to point to getting your starters and your backups ready to go for the season out the gate. Everything else, they're not going to have time to do. So those rookies are going to be on the shelf. How does a coach get the roster lineup ready for training camp? Cardinals have already dumped 10 players, probably because the league has already taking off 10 players from your roster for training camp. It used to be 90, now it's only 80. So they took 10 all off the top already. So it's like those guys are not going to get an opportunity that all they have is the opportunity to put something on tape that another team can see them. Is not going to have that opportunity to be done.
You know, I had an elf on a shelf joke ready, but I didn't get it ready in time because I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, what's that?
I don't know. I lost it. I'm back though.
Yeah, welcome back. Hope everything is cool. But like I'm saying, it also depends on I'm talking about the rookie class. It also depends on the position as well. Like Josh Jones has it hard. He's going to have the hardest camp he's ever been in his life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's got to come in there and battle all those positions, those guys that are ahead of him at the same time, learn NFL as a rookie. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So the reason why the Cardinals brought in Beecham from the Jets, the reason is because you look at that rookie draft class, they are not going to be ready, period. So it's going to be tough on Kingsbury and the coaching staff to they're going to have to depend on the eye test and those scouts evaluations when it comes to this training camp and this offseason to get that roster at the bottom of the roster, not the beginning and we know the staples, but talk about the bottom part of that roster to fill it out depth-wise. It's going to come down to the eye test and those evaluations from those scouts because you have nothing else to go on. There will be no tape to give to other teams so those guys can get a chance to make it. I mean, the undrafted free agent, you might as well just go ahead and hang it up. I feel for my man Vontavious Dora. He is there every training camp where he gets that paycheck from the game 1 to game 4 preseason. Yep. He get cut right out of the gate. Doesn't even get that opportunity. I kind of feel for that brother.
He's the face of the preseason.
He's the face of preseason. That's so true. But we got a few more minutes here, and I want to do this segment before I get out of here. So I want to talk about the days in sports on this particular day in sports, and I want to run that real quick.
Sports Almanac. What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
It's Lillard. He got the shot off.
Sports Almanac. On the 27th day in history, of course, there's a lot of things that took place, but there's a few things I want to point out. 1996 was the time of the explosion at the Olympics in Atlanta at the Olympic Park. 1 killed, 110 injured. And I think that was the same year that the Dream Team went up there and choked too, wasn't it?
Might be.
Then you got 2003 where the Tour de France declared no winner. And we all know why that was. Mr. Lance Armstrong caught and disqualified, of course, caught cheating. And in 1988, Tommy John, the pitcher or the baseball player, Tommy John commits a record 3 errors on 1 play in a game. How is that even possible? But that's possible. It was possible, and he did it. If you want to check it out, go ahead and check it out on YouTube. But he couldn't catch the ball with his bare hand. He tried to pick it up with his bare hand, tried to throw it the first, overthrew it, and then cut off the cutoff guy and tried to throw back home. So 3 plays.
It's the baseball equivalent of a Monday.
Exactly.
And also, you forgot one thing. This is the day that Tony Hawk hit the 900.
Oh, that's right.
The 900. Right. Also, Patrick Ewing got married on this day, but whatever.
But one thing about the Tommy John, which, like I said, I'm not a baseball guy, sounded familiar to me. Tommy John. I said, all right, why does that ring a bell to me?
Oh,
yes,
you know why.
The same Tommy John with the surgery. He was the first guy to have that surgery. That was really a UCL reconstruction, but they just named it after him because he was the first guy that had it. I said, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm new to this thing with this baseball thing.
You're watching more baseball than you ever have.
Exactly. I knew I heard that Tommy John. I've heard it before, but
guys,
we gotta get out of here, and it's been weird. Everything has been weird.
Pray for Earl. He's watching baseball.
In sports, and I'm watching baseball. That's definitely got to be weird because I got to analyze it anyway. But we are in the freaking Twilight Zone, people.
Facts.
Join us next week. We will be back to do it all again for you, even in the Twilight Zone. Bird Gang, we'll see you next week.
Peace.